So let's see. We got John and Steph. Just to give a little background for them. John's going to be 71. Steph's going to be 65, and we're going to say that it was a Facebook meet. Okay. And just so you guys know, this is how I try to set up when I'm in the house, but they're both like this, so I don't have to be going like back and forth, because it's really awkward if you have to do that. So I like them to be here. If we go to sit at the table, I'm like, would you guys mind if I sat here and y'all both sit right here? And then as long as you ask politely, most people will go ahead and do that for you. So I sit down. Like John, which one it was you that filled this out, correct, John? Sending it over Facebook?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. And I assume the major concern was just burial coverage, because that's what it was for. But did you have anything else that happened recently, or that kind of prompted you to fill this out, or was it just that you saw it pop up and realized that you needed some coverage, being that you were 71 years old?
Yeah. I mean, mostly age had something to do with it. Obviously, we see people dying for sure.
Got it. Have y'all had anyone recently that passed away in your family or friends or anything like that?
Yeah, I had a cousin.
Cousin? What was your cousin's name?
Lisa.
Lisa? Okay, gotcha. Did Lisa have any insurance at all, or?
She did not.
She did not?
No.
Okay. Who ended up having to pay for that one?
I believe it was her daughter.
Her daughter?
Yeah.
Got it. Do you know how much they had to spend for all that stuff?
I don't, but it was like a hardship.
It was pretty hard? Okay. Yeah. Have you all had any other family members in the past that had insurance that helped you out at all, or?
Yeah, I have.
Yeah? Tell me about that a little bit.
I had a great aunt, and she passed away, but
Mhm.
she had everything lined up, and everyone knew who to call and where to go, and so it was very painless.
Okay, gotcha. So it sounds like y'all are definitely believers in insurance, right?
Yes.
Okay, cool. And then kind of before we start, I just want to know, do you guys have any insurance at all, or?
Only we have a military background, so
So you got
we
the,
get something there maybe.
yeah, they pay for your plot if you want to get buried at the one military
Yeah,
base
I'm
that you were
not
at. Okay.
sure, yeah.
So let me just ask you real quick, John. You're 71 years old, and Steph, you're 65. Is there any particular reason you guys haven't gotten insurance to this point, or is it just you've been putting it off, procrastinating, or?
Yeah, I mean, we just looked around a little bit and I don't know.
Got it. So
Never
sounds
done.
like you're ready to be done procrastinating today, then, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Definitely.
So just a little bit background on me and what I do. The company we work with is called Family First Life. I have access to all the A-rated insurance carriers that I need to get you the best price possible. So what I have here is this is a client suitability worksheet. And basically what it's going to allow me to do is go through and ask you all some financial questions, some health questions, and we already kind of answered the insurance part. You don't have any, which we're going to fix today, right? And basically figure out what the best scenario for you guys would be and make sure that you're covered everywhere you need to be covered. Does that sound fair?
Yeah.
I'm just going to ask you, and it'll take me about 5-10 minutes to get through this. I don't have any big presentation for you. I'm just going to ask you a few questions, okay?
Okay.
Okay. So John, let's see. And then real quick, how long have you guys been together for?
3 years?
3 years?
Married 3 years. Yeah.
Married 3 years?
Yeah.
Which one was chasing? I bet you were chasing her, right?
She was definitely not chasing me.
Yeah. I'm not gonna say it's obvious, but it's a little bit obvious. Yeah. Okay. And then we said, so John, you're 71, and Steph, you're 65. Yeah, you got lucky on this one, John. Okay. So John, what's your monthly income total?
Total, we have pension.
Okay.
That's about $2,000.
And where does that pension come from?
It's military, so it's through that.
Okay, is that from disability through the military, or is it just a pension from the military?
No, it's not disability.
Not disability, okay. And I'm sure you're aware that since you guys have only been together for 3 years, if you do pass in the next 7 years, before the next 7 years is up, that she gets none of that pension, correct?
No, I did. I wasn't 100% sure how it works, to
Yeah,
be honest.
yeah. So in the next 7 years, just because you haven't been married more than 10 years, she won't get any of that. After that, she'll get 60%. Okay.
After 10, got it.
Yeah. Okay. And then what? Do you have more income besides that, or just the 2,000?
We get Social Security too.
Okay. Do you know how much yours is per month?
About $1,200.
Okay. And then Steph, do you have Social Security as well?
Yes, I think it's like 700.
700. Okay. And then, are you familiar with how Social Security works? If John passed, do you know how much money you get if John passes away?
Not exactly, no.
All right. So what will happen is if John passes away, you're going to get his 1,200. You're going to lose this 2,000, right? And you're going to lose your 700. So you guys' income will go from about $4,000 a month to about 1,200 a month for you. Okay. So I mean, I guess the other reason you probably filled this out was to make sure you had some sort of income replacement for when John passes away, so you can keep living like you're living, right?
Exactly.
Okay. Cool. And then were you guys basically just looking to make sure that Steph had something to cover for her burial, or tell me a little bit about that?
Yeah, I mean, we needed to. I'm trying not to make it too hard, obviously.
Mhm.
You know, we have okay income, but
Yeah.
you know, she won't have a ton obviously later, so
Okay.
we need to.
Big priorities to cover a lot on you, and then at least get something for each person.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool. And then, all right. So this is a nice house. Do you guys own this house, or are you renting this house?
We own it.
You own it. Okay. Congrats, that's awesome. I wish I owned a house. What's your, do you know what the balance, like the ballpark, you don't have to tell me exact figure, but ballpark figure you owe left on the mortgage?
It's like 80-something grand.
80 something, okay. And then, do you know how many years you have left on that?
15.
15, okay. And what's the monthly mortgage payment?
It's like $800.
800, okay. Yeah, okay. And then the total value of the house, any idea what that is?
Probably 150.
150, okay. See a good bit of equity, that's awesome. And then, is the house just in your name, John, or is Steph on it as well?
So she's on like the title, I guess.
Yeah,
She's on that part. She's
Okay.
not on the mortgage though.
okay. And then I guess, so this brings up another point, Steph, if something does happen to John, I mean, you'd be trying to make a $1,200 mortgage payment with $800 a month and try to live. Are you, I mean, would your goal be to downsize this house and pull the equity out, you know, or go live somewhere with the kids, or
No, I don't
somewhere
wanna go
without a
anywhere.
mortgage? You wouldn't go
No,
anywhere?
I wanna stay here.
Okay, well, I mean, it's a pretty big house. Just with $1,200 a month, you know, is there any way you think you could stay here? If something happened to John, if something happened to John yesterday. You don't want her to find a husband, do you? That's not your goal, is it?
That is
Okay.
definitely not my goal.
Cool.
They try.
Yeah, and at least, what I see a lot of people do is at least, you know, take out a little bit extra coverage just to make sure that if he does pass, you have some time to figure out if you're gonna refinance the house, do a reverse mortgage, or whatever the case may be, but at least to buy you some time. So we can just add that on to what we would get for his death benefit and the income replacement, okay? Okay, cool. And then, the other thing that's nice too is you guys have $80,000 in equity right now, right? And John's 71 years old. So let's say, God forbid, you know, John, you make it till 82, which is about how long guys live, right? You pass away, you slip, fall, pass away, whatever happens. You probably have $100,000 of equity in the house by then.
Yes.
I mean, I know you're laughing, but that's what happens in life, right? Guys live to 82 years old, and
Yeah.
I want to pause right there. So if people laugh like that, I'm like, I don't laugh with them.
Yeah.
Like I'm like, nah, we're not laughing. It's not funny. We're talking about him dying, like after he fell in the bathtub. That's not a funny thing. So I think a lot of people, I used to like engage and laugh with them. I cut it out now. I'm like, no, we're not laughing. Like we're here for business. And then if I want them to laugh, it'll be something like I'd make them laugh on purpose, you know. So I just wanted to,
Yeah.
at least,
no,
yeah.
it's keep in control.
Yeah, exactly.
Because
It's like, why
most
we're
people would
laughing?
have given into that.
Yeah,
And then
it's not
started
funny.
chuckling and probably got off task.
Right,
Most
exactly.
people do that. And then it gets personal and crazy
Yeah,
stuff
then it gets
happens.
weird, right? And so it's like the times we got off task, it was like who was chasing who. That's a question I asked. If they start going off on a tangent, I literally just go like this. All right, so John, what's your health like? And I'll just jump back into it, right? So that's where we are on here. So what is your health like? Do you take any medications? Actually, better yet, do you have a list of your medications? Awesome. Okay. And I started doing that because I remember early on, I asked John, I was writing a lot of business and it was all getting declined, right? I was like, I don't know, these people are all saying I'm healthy. So I would have usually asked him, what's your health like? And he'd be like, I'm awesome.
Healthy as a horse.
Yeah. So, but John, what's your health like now? It's like you're on insulin. You had a heart attack 2 years ago. You have Parkinson's disease. You're not in good health, right? So, but I don't tell them that. But I'm like, all right. So you have insulin, heart attack, Parkinson's. Awesome. I definitely know there's something that will still be able to take you. You're in a lot better health than I see a lot of 72-year-olds. So that's a good thing. And then I write that down. I write down his medicines. If there's any I need to look up, I guess I just use Google. Like I just Google them and see what they can be used for and make sure it'd be okay. I know there's fancy apps out there for it, but I just like Google because you can scroll through and see all the different possibilities and be like, no, this medicine is no chance it's used for blood pressure.
Yeah.
Like all of them say heart failure. This is not a blood pressure medicine. So I like to definitely check and verify that sort of stuff. All right, John, and do you smoke or do you non-smoker?
I do not.
Non-smoker. Do you ever used to smoke?
Nope.
Okay. Cool. And then what about for you, Steph? This is your same list of medicines on this side?
Yes.
Okay. So with Steph, insulin, stent. Okay. So I know at that point anyways that we're looking for some sort of permanent coverage. So I already knew I was doing whole life, but I'll be like, great news. You guys will be able to qualify for something permanent. Like whatever it is. If someone's young and healthy, great news, you guys get a term. If they're old and sick, great news, you guys can get, you know, day one permanent coverage. I just make it sound like it's the awesome revelation, right? Even though I knew that's where I was going with it the entire time. And then, so we get to the end. All right, so John, you don't have any current life insurance right now, you said, right?
Nope.
All right, Steph, you don't have any either?
No.
Got it. Okay, have you guys ever applied for coverage before and gotten declined or anything like that that I should know about? Any like one where they drew your blood out or anything crazy like that back in the past? No? Okay. And the reason I asked that too is just to help with underwriting, because that's where you'll run into some snags every once in a while where someone took a fully underwritten policy and they got declined, but they're telling you they don't take any medicine. Go grab me the report for that one, we'll look through it and see what we can get you. Because I like to get it done while we're in the house. I don't like to have to go back 3, 4, 5 times, and then they think I'm unprofessional and don't know what I'm doing. So I like to try to get them approved while we're there, right? All right, so John, what I'm gonna do real quick is I'm gonna go through, look for a couple different companies, and present a few options for you. In the meantime, will you do me a favor, and it's hot as hell out here today. Will you go grab me a glass of water, and then bring me back both y'all's driver's license and your checkbook, okay?
Yeah.
And then we're gonna go through, pick some numbers out, and then do an application to make sure we can get you approved, okay?
Got it.
Water. Just kidding.
I'm gonna go. I feel like I should. You want to?
No, I'm good.
You gonna price them first?
Yeah.
I need something.
When you're looking up quotes, do you communicate with the clients? while you're
No, I
doing
make them go do stuff like that, you know, and I'm like, if you need to get up and, you know, make dinner, dishes, you know, whatever, not to be sexist, but I'm just, you know.
Water, sir. Glass of water and dinner.
Yeah, yeah, I am hungry, it's hot and I haven't eaten all day, so.
Takeout takes a little while.
Right. And for them, so someone in this situation, I wouldn't quote them the same thing, right? Like I wouldn't quote Steph 30,000, and I would quote her something smaller, and then look at something larger for John, right?
Yeah.
And I tell them that ahead of time, like this isn't a one size fits all thing. Like based on what you need for her, like I'm here to help you guys stay within your budget, right?
Yeah.
So based on what you need for her, we're gonna look, you know, somewhere between 20 to 10,000, and somewhere for John, we're gonna look a little bit more, you know, somewhere between 30 to 20,000, okay? And you guys will tell me what fits your budget. And for ones like this where I kind of turn a final expense appointment into a mortgage appointment, I'll be like, okay, so John, the house, you pay about $14,000 per year towards the mortgage, right?
Yep.
And we said, or I guess Steph said she wouldn't be able to stay here at all if something happened to you. She'd be able to pay for it like a month, right? So kind of, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, but kind of what I'm thinking is you need about $10,000 to cover your burial and stuff, and then probably another $14,000 for her to have a year to cover the mortgage, right? That sound about right?
Yeah. Makes
Okay.
sense.
So we're gonna look at that for the minimum. So that puts us about 25,000 for yours, right? And then Steph, you know, she probably deserves a better funeral than you, right? No, I'm just kidding, John. But so we'll look at like 20,000, 15, 10,000 for her to cover and get everything she would need for her funeral, okay? And then I'll go through and quote them out. So for John, I would probably show him 30, 25, and 10. And I'll save you know, the time of going through and actually quoting them out. And for her, I would probably show her 20, 15, and 10. And then all I do when I present is I'm like, all right, which one of you guys does the budget? Steph, it's probably you, right?
No, it's him.
It's him? Oh, surprise of the day. Okay, so, John, what I'm gonna do is send these over to you, and I put them as one number, right? So I'll show $300 for the top one, right? 200, 100, whatever the case may be. I'll slide over to John and be like, hey, John, look at these. Tell me which one makes the most sense. While you're doing that, I'm gonna go ahead and get the application loaded and start putting your stuff in here because I have all your information, okay? So while he's looking at that stuff, I'm doing the application. And so I just make it really difficult. Like they have to go so far out of their way to tell me we're not doing business, and it's uncomfortable, right? And we're just gonna move through it. And then that's when I have to address stuff every once in a while. Well, we're not sure if we want to do something right now. And I'd be like, gotcha. Well, you know, if like you said, John, if you didn't come home yesterday, then Steph will be moving out in a month. Is that something you want to have happen? So I try to save that like difficult confrontation for the end if I really need it. And most times, if you do it properly and you make it to the point where you're doing an application, you won't have to do that. Does that make sense?
I think it's like some people are going, he didn't give any objections. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? It's the thing. It's like with that, and you can touch on it if you want to further, but it's like with the level of control and detailed and specific questions and how intentionally they were, it's hard to get them, right? And if you do, he gets them early. Like the only thing I could have really thought was like something that I didn't want insurance. Then it would be weird and he'd engage that at the beginning, and we'd probably been here 3 minutes.
Right.
I think the biggest issue with newer agents is there's and you have to learn the level of control. You don't have it day one.
That's something I struggled with for a long time, right? And I think I called John a lot early on. I was like, I'm young and people don't take me seriously. He's like, no, you're just being an idiot. People aren't taking me seriously, right? Because I just thought that it was because I was young, and I realized it was not that. I just didn't have any control, and I wasn't acting professional, and I wasn't just trying to help people. Yeah, it was my excuse, right? Like you can have all kinds of excuses, and that was mine. And I thought it was all in my head because now I realized like people don't care. I could be like 12 years old. Maddox could come up and sell a bunch of policies. You know what I mean? Just because what we do is very simple, and people ask for insurance. So I think if you just go into it just dead set that they're gonna buy, 100%, like with all the conviction in the world that they're gonna buy, most people will. you know, and it's because they did fill out a form and they are asking for your help. One other in-home thing I do want to touch on is I definitely make sure to tell everyone that I'm a broker, work with all the top A-rated companies. So you guys looking with anyone else for any other insurance or anything right now? And if they tell me, yeah, I have 2 appointments like the next couple of days, I'll be like, awesome news, John. The good news is you're just gonna have to meet with me and you can cancel the other ones because I work with all the companies. So I'm gonna get you situated today because you don't want to meet with 2 other insurance guys and have them be here for 2 hours, right? And most people say no, and you can just get them to. I'm like, all right, why don't you just text them to cancel that right now, and while I'm going through this appointment.
Yeah.
And like most people will do it if you just tell them what to do. So that's how I eliminate competition. They get rid of appointments.
Tell them the thing you told me out there about the checkbook thing.
What's that?
The checkbook.
Okay, yeah, so yesterday I had a lady, we got to the end, almost through the app, and she was like, I don't want to use checkbook for this. And I just was like, we just spent 30 minutes on your porch, it's 100 degrees outside. Can you please just go get me your checkbook? And then she just got up and went and got it. Like, I was like, I'm sweating right now. We're sitting on your porch because you have 100 kids inside, and it smells like smoke in there. Can you please just go get me your checkbook? And she just went and did it, right? So I think if you just learn to be assertive and direct people, you know, with questions and get them to move, then they will move. And